All right, so welcome to episode 23 of the Breaking Bio podcast. I'm Stephen Hamblin, postdoc from the University of New South Wales in Sydney, Australia. Today is Thursday, March 21st, and we've got a smaller than normal crew today. We were supposed to be joined by Michael Whitehead at Dr. Sway on Twitter, but unfortunately he couldn't make it. Technical difficulties have short-circuited that idea. So I'm left with these two clowns. So we've got Morgan with us.
Hi, I'm Morgan Jackson, a PhD student at the University of Guelph in Ontario, Canada.
Hi, I'm Tom Housley. I'm a PhD student at the University of Stirling in Scotland.
So apparently Michael's watching the live stream, even though he couldn't actually make it to the episode. So let's go ahead and discuss his research while he's not here.
He can fill in the details later for us.
He does like plants, right?
Plants that have sex with insects or something? And they trick them
like
into it?
Yeah, we're pretty much guaranteeing he's never going to come on the podcast now.
We should probably explain. So we were going to have Michael Whitehead come on and talk about his research on, which is apparently insects and plants having crazy wild sex in the wilds of South Africa. But South Africa got in the way and we can't get him on right now. So, hi Michael. Hope you can come on later. Yeah, so Michael's just drinking and watching us now. So, thanks Michael.
I'll watch you guys until I finish the whiskey.
That's how Breaking Bio is best, when you're drinking whiskey.
Yeah, we need like a Breaking Bio drinking game. Every time Tom makes fun of Heidi, drink. Yeah.
Every time somebody flashes a finger, drink.
Every time you hear someone typing in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody be drunk really fast.
So is there anything scientific to talk about this week?
So, this week, earlier in the week, there was National Geographic hosted a TEDx conference on de-extinction. I think it was in Washington, D.C. And I didn't pay any attention to it because I'm not a fan of de-extinction. And I had better things to do. So we can talk about de-extinction, perhaps.
So what is your problem with de-extinction?
I just have a couple of problems. Mostly, one, I would rather we work on keeping things from going extinct and figuring out what the hell is here before worrying about, bringing back elephants and stuff that we've already killed off. And two, if we do master the idea of de-extinction, then I feel like people will stop caring about conservation and be like, we brought that back. Why can't we just bring this other thing back? Let's put up an oil plant. I'm pretty cynical that way.
Okay, well, let me play devil's advocate for a second. So,
because that's what you do best.
So you say you'd rather us keep things alive now, like keep extant species around instead of resurrecting old ones. And I presume that the goal of that is to maintain biodiversity, right?
It's not so much keeping things around, because I'm also a big proponent of not caring too much when things go extinct, because it happens. It's part of evolution.
Pick a side, Morgan.
Yeah, I know. I'm waffling on this, but if they go extinct, I hope they stay extinct. I'll just put it that way, and I don't mind.
Are you one of those people who wants pandas to die? All pandas to die.
I'm not quite wanting them to die, but if they do die, it happens. It's shitty for some things, especially if it's human caused or we wanted to build a mall and kill 3 endemic species of plants in the process. But, that would be something I'd rather not happen. But, 99% of all species have gone extinct.
Well, if we could actually perfect the technology, wouldn't that solve our problems with, with us causing extinctions? If we could resurrect them the minute they went away.
Well, again, you're going to end up with big creature bias, though. It'll probably be mammal bias. So, nobody's ever talked about bringing back, the Rocky Mountain locust, which has gone extinct from North America. Nobody brings that back. Nobody wants to see that back. But mammoths, which pretty much lived in the same habitat, bring them.
Yeah, but mammoths are cool and insects suck, so...
See,
what, no response to that?
I would just insult you and your mother. Yeah. No, but that's the problem, is that everybody wants to see Jurassic Park or Pleistocene Park, but nobody wants to see, all the insects that were around with the mammoth that we've since killed off, or the bird lice that lived on the dodo. It's very incomplete.
I can definitely see a bias happening, but I'm not so sure that nobody wants to see insects resurrected. Or,
Well,
I mean,
I should say no one other than entomologists, really.
the bigger problem there would be simple collection, right? Like, I mean, so many of the insects and like the smaller life forms that are gone, we simply never saw them in the first place, so we wouldn't know to resurrect them.
Yeah, so I mean, there's obvious sampling bias as well as, fluffy bias. But we'll call it fluffy bias from now on, I guess. It's a technical term. Watch for that in a review paper in 10 years. Yeah, I mean, it matters on what you can get DNA for. I mean, it's easy when you've got a mammoth literally stuck in an ice cube in the middle of Siberia, but not so easy.
Actually, Carl Zimmer's post on his blog, what is he calling it now? Oh yeah, it's the Loom. He, I don't know why that escaped me. I don't. That's been his blog forever. But he did mention a good point about that. So, like it seems like it should be easy to find them, but many animals are more difficult to retrieve. The dodo only went extinct like 400 years ago, but as he points out, retrieving dodo DNA is more difficult because of the climate of where they were in Mauritius, as opposed to, like you say, ice cube mammoths in the middle of the permafrost, which maintain DNA pretty well, and you can go back several thousand years.
Cryogenically froze themselves. Those dodos were dicks for not doing so. I think I read somewhere actually this week that there's no intact dodos in any of our collections. There's like a rotten skin in Oxford or something like that, but there's not an intact dodo preserved anywhere, which is kind of ironic. We killed them so fast before we could even realize what we were doing. Oops.
Yeah.
So I've not followed any of this stuff, but my question would just be, what about genetic diversity? If you've just got the DNA of one dodo or something, do you just keep bringing back fuckloads of this identical one?
The worst bottleneck in history.
Well, yeah. I mean, it would be. Presumably, if we got to the level where we could, reliably de-extinct animals, maybe we'd have the ability to introduce genetic diversity.
So is that de-extinctifying then, or is that, just fucking with it?
Oh yeah, it's a complete playing God scenario, right? But I mean, yeah, the lack of genetic diversity would be a huge issue. I think Carl mentions that as well too, actually.
Yeah.
And there are ethical issues involved too. Do we have the right to do this? If you could, just because we can doesn't mean we should. He's against resurrecting Neanderthals because, and this is actually an argument I'd never really thought about before, but he says that research on humans requires informed consent, right? So like when you're going to do medical research or anything on humans, you have to get them to say, okay, this is all right. You can't do that with a species that's extinct before you bring it back, right? You can't like resurrect one, say, are you okay with this? Oh no.
Oh, we'll just kill you again. Pull the plug. This one didn't want it. We'll try again.
We'll just keep resurrecting one until it says yes. Like, there are those kinds of issues which could be serious problems.
See, another benefit to resurrecting insects: you don't have to worry about ethical control boards. Just saying.
Yeah. People who work on inverts are assholes for that. They always say, "Oh, I don't need ethics."
You work on viruses on a computer. Do you bother with ethics? That's actually a legit question. This is my sincere face.
No, I did some human experiments in my master's, but aside from that, I've never had to deal with ethics at all.
Some human experiments? That sounds really scary, the way you phrase that.
That was my mad scientist face, which didn't come off very well.
Yeah, it was the fluffy scientist face, is what it was.
Fantastic. I'm not very frightening, am I?
Not particularly.
No, I was doing some work on game theory models of communication from animal signaling literature. So how aggressive communication arises and whether signaling systems are stable, whether they can be reliable in the face of cheating. And we were testing. Well, we were testing some of the animal models on humans to see what they did. So there's simple games that are used to model communication. You get to make a signal, and then you get to choose an action. And either you end up in like hawk dove with signals, so you end up in a fight, and you pay a cost to that, or you don't. And you can use signals to say what you're going to do or what state you are. Either I'm strong or I'm weak, or things like that. And so we took those models and applied them to humans. And of course, humans were messy and kind of craptacular. So the resulting data was kind of a mess. But I never did publish that either, actually. Well, I got lost. I always meant to go back and finish it and publish it, but I just never did. It was always a side project for me. The computers were more important.
It's sounding more and more like you're just experimenting. It sounds more and more like you're just experimenting on people in your basement, by the way. Oh, I never published that. It's just sitting there.
Oh, I never took it breakfast.
Somewhere in a basement in Montreal, there's a very unfortunate person just sitting there, skeletonized, waiting to be de-extinctified.
But still making an aggressive signal.
Just sitting there giving the finger to Steven, just mummified.
You guys, this is all wrong. This was in Alberta.
Oh, sorry.
Besides, I don't speak French. I couldn't have started that experiment in Montreal. Yeah, that's right. I did a PhD in Montreal, and I never learned French. And I was at a French university. So, to hell with all of you.
I'm sorry for anybody that likes French that's listening.
Well, yeah, I think we just lost all our Quebecois viewers. Sorry.
Did we have any Quebecois viewers?
Well, we don't now.
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, the Quebecois, they're a little focused on French. Actually,
yeah,
I've always felt bad about that. I mean, I did do my PhD there, and I kind of tried to learn French, but in Montreal it's difficult because they switch really quick. If you don't know, like if you're not fluent in French, they'll switch to English in a heartbeat, and you never get anywhere, right? The only people in the entire city I ran into who actually would speak French just out of sheer bloody mindedness were, ironically, the administration at the university I was at, which meant that I couldn't get anything done with them, right?
Pretty much worst case scenario for you.
Well, yeah, I had all sorts of problems with them. Like
they're the ones in the basement, aren't they now?
Yes. I was experimenting on them. Wow, I need to cut that out because that sounded so
It's alright, you didn't say it in French, so they'll never know.
Oh no.
Well, no, I mean, like when I graduated, near 2 years ago, I didn't get my degree for over a year because they kept saying, "Oh, you owe us money. You owe us like $600." And I'm like, "Well, no, I don't. I'm all paid up. Give me my degree, damn it." And what actually happened was they switched over to a new finance system, and unfortunately everything got buggered up when they did that because they didn't run the old system in parallel. They just switched over to the new system and pulled the plug on the old one. So it became this huge mess in which people weren't getting paid for months, right? Like professors were paying students out of pocket and things like that. But somewhere along the line,
professors realized what it was like to be a grad student again, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Not getting paid for months or at all.
So somewhere along the line, they decided that I was no longer attending, and when I went to go finish, now all of a sudden it was like I re-enrolled, and so they canceled my tuition scholarship in the meantime. So they were demanding tuition for my final semester, and saying, "You owe us this money." I'm no, I don't. What are you doing? So, but trying to work this out in broken French from Australia was an incredibly painful experience. Although I did put Google Translate through its paces.
Nice.
Yeah, Google Translate's the only thing that got me through some of the administrivia in my degree.
Administrivia? That's an awesome term. That one can go up there with fluffy biases. Administrivia. Awesome.
That comes from my master's advisor, actually. He also calls things academia, which I thought was pretty good. Well, why is it me sitting here complaining? Tom's the one with actual problems, like, you know. Like I'm just wow. You know, I had to do some paperwork. Yeah, Tom's actually having issues.
Things are. My experiment is going okay. It's just that I have to spend very long hours doing it, and especially because it's in an incredibly hot little dark room. So every day I have to make sure that I've got about 8 hours of listening charged on my iPod, and then I'm in there in this hot room with my trousers rolled up and my head torch on.
So I'm just
crickets in boxes.
Just judging from your previous admissions. So now I'm imagining you sitting pretty much naked in this room listening to previous professors giving lectures that you find satisfying. It's not helping your image at all, Tom.
Yeah, no.
I'm
not rubbing your nipples, are you? That's right.
I got a nipple phobia. Don't go there. It makes me feel a bit sick.
Okay. Yeah. Does that have a name? Like, is there a name for nipple phobia?
Not as far as I know, but
see if Google can help us with that one.
To the internet, yeah. What is it? Rule 32 or something? There's already a fetish site about that. Nipple phobia.
Just some people touching their nipples and other people in the corner going.
Oh God, those would be the worst videos ever.
Oh God! Just so everybody knows, there is a name for it, and apparently it's thellophobia. Thella being Greek for nipple. So there you go. Greek is a Tom is a thellophobiac, apparently.
Sweet.
Thellophobic. Nice.
Oh.
You know, I'm just waiting for that time in my life when that suddenly becomes a crucial piece of knowledge. You know, like the government says,
you have a very sad life. I'm sorry.
Or an awesome one.
Yeah. You know, like it's an action movie, and all of a sudden, you know, my survival depends on knowing what a fear of nipples is called. You know, it's actually probably a good thing that Bug isn't here for this one.
And because our viewers are so helpful, Sam Evans has also chimed in that it is thellophobia. So there, confirmation, peer review. And there's an awful lot of tweets about that I'm going to hide now.
It's amazing how many times you can search for things which, you know, sort of science-wise, you start thinking, this would be a normal thing to look for because you're so used to working in biology, and then you actually remember that you've got safe search off.
And it all goes to hell. And your afternoon is shot.
Although the reverse is that whenever I look at my search term referrals for my blog, then I just feel sorry for people who've ended up going like, what is this? I was looking for pictures of... Actually, I won't tell you, because some of the things have been fucking disgusting. Just like, these people are going to be so fucking frustrated when they come to my blog, and I'm just going, I'm going to tell you all about how beetles have horns.
I don't know, do you guys ever get this? Like, when I was doing my master's in psych, I used to get all the time, well, you know, you're just like that Dr. Phil guy, right? So, you know, immediately I wanted to strangle them. But, you know, I don't get it as much now that I'm in biology, because I just say I'm a theoretical biologist, and people go,
Can you fix my computer?
Yeah, but what kind of weird questions do you guys get when you say what you do?
Do you know, I think it's much better now that I'm doing biology because my undergrad was in computer science, and then it used to be everyone going, "Oh, fix my computer." I'm like, I could write you a short program that would have some loops in it, or I could tell you about the internet protocol.
I can tell you that the running time of that program would be O log n.
You guys are such nerds.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Well, what about you? I mean, you're a taxonomist. When you talk about what you do at parties, what's the first thing you get?
I usually get, I saw this weird bug. What is it? That's the most normal thing. Which isn't too bad if people are just describing them at a party, because either I can just be awkward and walk away like I normally am, or try and answer and say I have no idea, or actually know the answer, which sometimes happens, or just bullshit, which also happens.
Do you ever just lie to them? They're
not
sitting there.
Straight
Oh,
out.
it's
I
like...
try and give. Yeah, that's the manged flange dog tick. No, I don't know. No, I don't try to do that too often. Only with people I'm trying to get away from, I guess.
Oh no, I know that one. That's the man wolf.
Yeah, the man bear cake.
Oh, Raphael.
Look up the genome.
Or just piece one together.
Yeah, just make your own. That's what I do. But it's worse. I've been starting, as Bug Girl has brought up, people email me things, and that's more horrifying.
Really? Like what kind of things?
There was one time a lady sent me like 160 photos of her dog's testicles because she thought there were botflies on it. That was pretty fun.
160 pictures?
Yep.
140 wouldn't do? Like
apparently not. No, you had to go over 160.
Is this from various angles and?
Oh yeah.
Different depth of field.
Yep. Yeah, most of them were blurry pictures of dog bollocks. But yeah, that's topped the cake so far. Just 150, 160 pictures of dog balls.
I just thought that it had to be 160 pictures.
Yeah.
Was she just
it was
sitting
like
there
two
going?
Full albums. It was like two full web albums. Yeah, she sent me links to web albums, and there was more than 100 pictures of dog balls.
And she thought they had botflies.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because you read your post on how they're not a weight loss option, or?
No, this is before that. I don't really know. I think I talked about botflies at one point, but I think she just saw that I studied flies and blogged, and she sent me these things. They most definitely were not botflies. They were just scabby dog balls.
I think I just found the title for this episode. It would have been interesting if they were
botflies, but unfortunately
I think you just found your stabby cock dagger.
Yeah. Scabby dog balls.
Sweet. Yeah, that's been my best so far. I haven't had people send me literally, bits and pieces in the mail like Bug Girl has, but there's still that to come. Can't wait for that. But
yeah, that's probably for the best.
Yes, for my sanity. Yes.
I feel really bad for there's a student in my office, and some of her work has been kind of citizen science based, and so she's trying to get all like bumblebee all the different types of bee recordings and sightings and from people's gardens, and she gets all these emails, but most of them are from people who are kind of, they're maybe a bit older and they want to chat, and so she wants to get more data, and so she just had this like raft of 1,000 emails, and she was having to send chatty emails to them all back. Some would send her letters, and they'd include printed photographs of a bee taken from 2 meters away with the bee not in focus at all, and they'd be going, "I've seen this bee around, maybe this helps," and she's like, "Could you even tell me what the colours were? Because I can't see."
Yeah, we get that a lot too. We have a lot of people call our collection, our lab, and ask questions about stuff like this. And sometimes, yes, there will be people who will just start talking about not insects anymore. And we're trying to be polite, and they're just rambling on and on and on about the time they went up to their cottage, and then they went water skiing, and then they found a water bug, and then they go back on to water skiing. It happens all the time.
there's a lab upstairs here. I mean, you don't really get a lot of that in virology. Most people who have questions like that are at a doctor, but
talking to a real doctor.
Yeah. But there's a lab upstairs that we're associated with that studies norovirus. And, I mean, of course, for people who don't know, norovirus...
Shitty. Low-hanging fruit right there. Surprised nobody else took that one.
So they study norovirus, and norovirus inspires vomiting and diarrhea. It's a gastrointestinal bug.
There's the joke, by the way.
Yeah, which was super funny when you explained it. But the problem is that, you know, every once in a while, like if anybody talks about having stomach flu, you can bet that somebody from the lab is going to wander by, you know, kind of, you know, all you know, being casual about it and say, can we have a sample, you know?
So they're actually soliciting sick people in the department.
Yeah, they're trying to get all kinds of isolates of the virus, and so, you know, anybody who's offering samples is gold to them.
So
what kind of sample?
Yes, that's the important question, Tom. What kind of sample? Like, is this shit in a bucket, or is this, can we just swab your mouth? Because those are two totally different things.
Sure, I hate this, but in my lab, because we've had people studying dung flies, then you do have buckets full of shit just like stored around the place.
Yep.
The other day I was trying to clean out some of the fridge, and I was like, here's 2 buckets of shit labeled from 2009. Good vintage.
Oh. Does it age well? Like,
no, it doesn't. About as well as you'd imagine.
Well, what are they doing with it? Like, are they just studying
well, that was just that people hadn't fucking thrown it out after they'd finished their master's projects.
Or it was the master's project. You never know.
Oh. Wow.
But yeah, mostly it's making like little artificial dung piles for rearing the dung flies on, or for like having tiny little leks on.
Sexy dung parties.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, believe it or not, we've actually exceeded our time now.
Oh, we never got into your. You know, if we need to have some horribly nerdy reference every episode, and you were talking beforehand about the interface between Star Trek and Extinction, and then you had an episode of existential angst.
I know, we missed that. We got distracted by shit and bollocks. Oh.
Yeah. I think we'll have to save that for next time, believe it or not. But in any case, thanks for watching if you've managed to make it this far. And if you want to know more, we're at breakingbio.com. And that was episode 23, so thanks for joining us.
Sorry.